I'm really not worthy of standing in this place and the generosity that you all have done for 20 years of my life. And I have just a few little things that I would like to say to you. This would not have been my first choice, but my body divorced me. And over the last several months, it's been very obvious to me that the psoriatic and rheumatoid arthritis has grown in my hands to where I can't even tuck my thumbs. So we come to this point where we have to wish each other God's good grace. And I want to quote one of my great heroes. When Hallmark was our interim rector, we had a really resplendent time of working together. And in her closing remarks to us, I want to quote her. She taught us that when pure love is present, who is giving and receiving becomes so elided that neither is distinguishable from the other. And so it is that pure love at many levels is present here today among all of us. Who would have imagined that when Tom Odell hired me on a handshake in May of 2000, that today we would be celebrating 20 years of growth, intentional community among our choirs, a music academy for children, and a glorious art series in Music on the Corner. In reality, I never applied for this job. Further, I'm confident that in 2000, I did not want another church gig. God for certain had a distinct and different plan in store for all of us. Not knowing the future nor my time frame, this congregation, and I want you to hear this with real clear depth, literally saved my life when I came here to St. John's broken, wounded, and not wanting to serve another Christian congregation. For you see, I came from a beloved former parish where I served for 19 and a half years, building a large music program, a huge new organ, and walking with a church through 3 major building programs. That congregation moved extremely far right and divorced their denomination. It was simply a miserable season of angst, division, egos. I chose to leave before I would have been asked to leave. At that time, I was much more interested in hospice work than church parish work. Holding the hands of dying folks really seemed to be the real Jesus for me. As is obvious, God had a different plan for you, for me, and for St. John's. 20 years later, and here we are today with a consummate choir, a choir that has carried this parish through many joys, sorrows, and transitions, and become musically one of the finest choirs between Washington and Charlotte. The choir and I share some 300 plus hours a year together. Multiply that by 20, and we have shared together in over 6,000 hours of ministry. We certainly know each other very well by now. How grateful beyond human words for this choir and this parish. Many of you opening up your hearts and personal lives and stories and inviting me in. Holding each other's hearts and hands and interior lives. This is what I shall miss the very most. At the end of my life, I do not want to be recognized for great concerts, beautiful church music, and building pipe organs. Much the more, I want to be remembered that I was a part of your daughter's wedding, your mother's funeral, and that I played at your children's baptisms. Thank you. Thank you for allowing me to be a part of your lives, a part of your hearts and your stories. Profound thanks. After 40 years serving on a church staff, it is clearly obvious to me that behind any effectual and successful church leader is a spouse of great merit, a spouse who spends copious amounts of time alone or separated during normal family times. Christmas Eve, Thanksgiving Day, Easter Day, every time the church has a special moment, the family life of a church leader goes without. I am, and I hope you are, deeply indebted to, thankful for, and grateful for how you, the dear children of God, have included Charles, known as Mr. Richards to most, as a part of our church family. I am profoundly grateful to Mr. Richards, my beloved Charles, for the hundreds of hours donated to our shared mutual ministry. My ministry would have been feeble at best, weak on most days, and of little strength if I did not have this wonderful human being in my heart and daily life. We all together owe him a debt of gratitude and a measure of thanksgiving as large as 20 years on a pedestal. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Richards. You were minister in toto when you did not even recognize it. Bless you, dear and good man of God. Today's hymns are of particular importance to me. And might I say that the leadership of hymns at the organ is one of my most favorite and serious moments in life. Bringing text and tunes together with the wondrous many sounds of the organ is a beautiful moment for any serious church organist. When the Spirit moves us to sing, we simply must sing. Bishop Light reminds me regularly that our parish has become a rich and full-throat singing parish and is always quick to compliment my hymn playing. I've sought my entire life at the organ to play with both my hands and with my heart, hopefully bringing life to every word, phrase, and the theology of every hymn. I would pause also to say that I'm really thrilled that Mike Milam is going to fill in this interim period. Mike is very capable and very apt, and I just am amazed at how he can teach school and run our academy and now run the music ministry at St. John's. I think that you're going to be in very good hands. Praise My Soul, the King of Heaven was the entrance hymn when I worshiped at Westminster Abbey some months before coming to St. John's. The sermon and lessons that day were about risk-taking. Jesus inviting Peter to step out of the boat. In a similar manner, today too is about risk-taking. The theology, if I want to walk as a child of the light, is, for me, one of the strongest theologies in the 1982 hymnal. When the night and the day become so elided, when pure love supersedes darkness and evil, and when Jesus is all that remains, then we are for certain completely in the presence of God. And is this not what we church leaders and church musicians seek to do every day of our lives? Move the children of God into a set-aside, holy, and sacred space. For the past 42 years, this has been the very reason I wake in the morning and come to the church house, seeking to feed sheep. It is perhaps uncommon for an organist to seek to feed sheep, but then I'm not your common church organist. There's only one. So to tidy this up, so back to pure love. I wrestled for some weeks and really prayed about what might be the last hymn that we will share together. Initially, I was drawn to the great text of Martin Rinkart, who, after burying some 3,000 folks during the Black Plague in Germany, including his own wife and several of his children, penned the everlasting and powerful text of Now Thank We All Our God with heart and hands and voices. Yet this theme of pure love kept growing in my consciousness, and it kept coming back to me as being the heart of our shared 20 years together. The more I reflected and prayed about this moment, the more I found and find myself consumed with an inexpressible love for each of you, a love deeper than human words, a love that in itself is pure breath. In a moment, we will share the fabulous text of Charles Wesley's Love Divine, All Loves Excelling, as that was the hymn that I wanted to sing with you last. I want to leave you with these intimate, awe-inspiring, life-changing, and real as dead man eating broiled fish words. When we arrive at stanza 3, I will lift the key and I'm going to add to the organ, and I would like to invite you to sing like you've never sung before. I would like your lungs to just fill this space and sing with every fiber of your being. These words perhaps best sum up our wonderful shared mutual ministry these many, many years. As I say to our choir and to each of you today, I love you is grossly insufficient. Finish then thy new creation, pure and spotless let it be. Let us see thy great salvation perfectly restored in thee. changed from glory into glory, till in heaven we take our place, till we cast our crowns before thee, lost in wonder, love, and praise. The Lord bless you all.